Friends, greeting. Today, my intention is to have a little discussion about one of the novels of the great Russian writer Fyodor Dostoevsky. The name of this novel is The Idiot. It is written by Fyodor Dostoevsky and translated in English by Bantam Classic. Very time, many years ago, I had purchased another, the Urdu version of this novel from the bookshop, and those days was the days of Soviet Union. This is Idiot, and a Urdu version which is directly translated from Russian to Urdu. Dostoevsky, it is such a thick novel containing about thousands of pages. So, but I prefer, since this video is based on English one, The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. So, about this, Dostoevsky had once said, "My intention is to portray a truly beautiful soul." So, this is the name of this novel is Idiot. And as you know, a famous Dostoevsky, a very famous writer, novelist, world fame. And this novel had attracted me a lot, honestly saying, The Idiot. So, Dostoevsky was born in 16th of November, 1821, Moscow, Russia. He died in February 9, 1881, St. Petersburg. This novel is about the character and the hero of the protagonist of this novel is the Prince Mashkin, the character named Prince. So, let me say something about a brief summary of this novel. This story is based, a man, the hero is coming from Switzerland, spending several years in Swiss mental institution where he was treated for epilepsy. Prince Leof Mashkin, the name of the hero of this novel, is penniless returning to Petersburg from Switzerland mental institution. He was penniless and visit distant relative. The Epanchins, one of the another characters of this novel, the Epanchins family. He proves himself a master of calligraphy and is hired by General Epanchin, who finds that he is strangely fond of the prince. Mishkin is then introduced to the general's wife and daughters, and afterward he goes home with Gania Levogin, the general's secretary. Mishkin will he will stay there with the Levogins. So, at Gania's, Mashkin meets the Levogins family and quickly finds himself involved in a family quarrel when he mentions that Gania has received a portrait of one of another character, Nastasia Filipovna. Gania's family is fearful that Gania will marry Nastasia, a beautiful but well-known kept woman. In the midst of the quarreling, Nastasia appears. She is bewitching beautiful as Rosine, another character Rogozin, a fellow Meshkin's meet on the morning train while he was traveling from Switzerland towards Petersburg. He meet in his compartment. Rogozin, a fellow Meshkin, said she was Mishkin's meet immediately understand Rogozin's sworn devotion to her, another lover of Nastasia Philipovna Rogozin. And Nastasia is as striking as the portrait which Gania showed earlier in General Zapanchin's office. Nastasia is polite to Livogin only momentarily. She turns surely and is sarcastic to Gania's mother and sister, and then turns on Mishkin's, asking him why he finds her attractive. She is fascinated by the prince's confession concerning his meeting with Rogozin on the train, but she is even more fascinated when Rogozin himself suddenly storms into the Livogin's house. Rogozin is shocked to discover Nastasia, but he is not deterred from his purpose in coming. He offers to buy Nastasia from Gania. Then he offers to pay a fine bid of 100,000 rubles to Nastasia in exchange for herself. The company is thrown into an uproar. Varia condemns Nastasia and Gania, lashing out to slap his sister, strikes Meshkin when Meshkin was actually this fellow, Meshkin, a prince, a hero, Prince Meshkin. He is an epileptic patient, a very plain and a very kind-hearted, a very simple man. Somebody had, according to Dostoevsky, he is truly a saintly man. So strikes Meshkin, who stepped in front of the girl. This chivalry quiets the party, and after Rogozin and Nastasia leave, Meshkin is taken to his room. Later that night, Meshkin goes to Nastasia Philipovna's birthday party. He is invited but is welcomed by Nastasia. After champagne is served and games are played, Nastasia announced that at last she will reveal whether or not she has decided to marry Gania's Livogin. She turns to Mishkin and says that his decision will be her fate. Mishkin whispers that she must not marry Gania, and amidst loud protestation, Rogozin, his noisy band of followers are ushered in the house of Livogin family. Rogozin has brought the 100,000 rubles money he promised to pay Nastasia, but Nastasia changes her mind. She will begin her new life penniless. Under those conditions, no one would have her. Mishkin objects he would marry her, and he reveals that he is heir to a fortune of 1.5 million ruble. Nastasia instantly agrees to Mishkin's proposal, then impulsively refuses and flees into the night with Rogozin. Mishkin follows the couple, and after the three live for a time in Moscow, they live in Moscow, where Nastasia decided to marry Rogozin, then refuses and comes to Meshkin for comfort. Meshkin returns to Petersburg. He visit Lebedov, a fellow he met on the train with Rogozin, and also visit Rogozin. He tries to convince Rogozin that the two men are not rivals for Nastasia. Seemingly Rogozin understand and swear to by Mishkin's spiritual brother, but after Mishkin leaves Rogozin, he wandered absently and finds himself at Nastasia Philipovna's house. The girl is not at home, but Mishkin's senses that Rogozin has followed him. He is correct. Rogozin has followed him, Mishkin, to see if he would go to Nastasia as a victorious suitor. Rogozin then follows Mishkin back to his hotel and attempts to murder the prince, the hero, the Prince Mishkin. But Mishkin suffers an epileptic attack because he was also suffering from, he was a patient of epileptic, the hero, the idiot, the hero of this novel, idiot, Prince Mishkin, suffered an epileptic attack when he realizes that it is Rogozin who is hiding in the dark with a raised knife. The attack saves the prince's life, recapturing at Lebedev's villa at Parlovisk. Mishkin is visited by Epanchin's, his distant relative of the prince, General Epanchin's, and during their visit, several young men demand to see the prince before the Epanchins. The young men demand money from Mishkin. He is not true son of Pavlovich, while Bordovsky, one of the intruder, is although illegitimate, and they demand that Mishkin give Bordovsky his rightful inheritance. Mishkin exposes the young man as fraud. He was known of Bordovsky's claim, and he had Ganias verifying the facts of the case. Mishkin says that he will not give the man conscious money, but he says because Pavlovich did take an interest in Bordovsky, the boy is nephew of woman Pavlovich once in love with. He offered to give Bordovsky 100,000 ruble, approximately what Pavlovich sent on Mishkin's education and medical bill. Madame Epanchin is aghast of such unnecessary extravagance, and after a polite, one of the young men damns the company. She gathers up her family and leaves. As they leave, a carriage drives up, and a voice shouts to Radomsky, an admirer of Agalaya Epanchin. Actually, General Epanchin had 3 beautiful daughters, one of which is Agalaya Epanchin. About some Mishkin recognized the voice as Nastasia Filipnova. Soon afterward, Mishkin accompanies the Epanchin and friends to the park, and when Nastasia enters and is insulted, Mishkin rushes to her aid and defends her from the wrath of an army officer. Aglaya is sure that Mishkin will be forced to duel with the officer. But Mishkin is unconcerned. He celebrates his birthday, and afterward the company listen to Hippolyte as he reads a long testament describing his thought on death and life. He then raises a pocket pistol to his temple. Here and fires. There is no cap in the gun, and the company roars in laughter. Hippolyte swears that he means to kill himself, then collapses. Unable to sleep, Mishkin goes walking in the park, falls asleep on a bench, and is awakened by Agalaya Epanchin. She tells Mishkin that she can no longer bear her family and that she wants to elope with Mishkin to Europe. Mishkin says that the idea is preposterous, and suddenly Madame Epanchin stands before them demanding an explanation. After Mishkin confesses that he would like to marry Aglaya consents. A betrothal party is planned. Mishkin must be introduced to Pittsburgh society. The party is disaster. Mishkin launches into one of the long-winded did emotion tirades, this time against the Catholic Church, breaks an expensive vase and finally collapses and an epileptic seizure. When Mishkin recovers, Aglaya asks him to go with her to Nastasia Philipovna's house, and Mishkin agrees. Rogozin is also there, and he and Mishkin witness a violent arguments between the two women. Nastasia has hoped to arrange a marriage between Aglaya and Mishkin, but Aglaya accuses Nastasia of toying with the prince, damns her for her past and for her corrupting Mishkin. To retaliate, Nastasia reminds Aglaya that Mishkin has promised to marry her and that she can force him to do so. Mishkin acquiesces and tries to follow Aglaya as she runs from the house, but turns to aid Nastasia when he sees that she has fainted. The wedding is arranged and Mishkin waits at the church for Nastasia. Nastasia, however, has changed her mind. Again, she cannot bring herself to marry the prince. He is too good and she too tarnished. She asks Rogozin to take her away. Mishkin is told that the two have fled and he goes into the Pittsburgh and finally finds Rogozin waiting for him. Rogozin takes the prince home with him and shows him Nastasia's body. Actually, Rogozin had killed the beautiful woman, Nastasia Philipovna. He has killed her and laid her on a bed. She is covered with good leather and surrounded by bottles of uncorked disinfectant. Mishkin ministers to the feverish Rogozin, soothing his brow and cheeks, and when the two are discovered, Rogozin is babbling and Mishkin has lost his sanity. Again, because he was a patient of epilepsy, the fit of epilepsy used to come to Prince Mishkin, and he went again to the fits epilepsy. He lost his sanity, Prince Mishkin, and Rogozin was sentenced because he killed the beautiful Nastasia Philipovna, and he was sentenced to Siberia. Mishkin is taken back to Dr. Schneider's sanitarium in Switzerland. The possibility of his ever recovering are slight. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, let me come to the character. How many characters involved in this great novel? So the first character or the hero of this novel is Prince Leov Nikolaevich Mishkin, 26 years old, very thick, fair hair, slightly above medium height, large eyes, blue eyes, hollow cheeks, thin, almost white, little beard. Mishkin lost his parent when he was a child and spent his life in the country. Because of his epileptic attack, he was sent to a Swiss clinic by his guardian, Pavlovich. Another major character of this novel is Parfenion Simonovich Rogozin, about 27 years old, short, stocky build, curly black hair, handsome, but has a deathly pallor. Impulsive, believe that Mishkin is his rival for Nastasia Philipovna. Another, the heroine, one of the beautiful heroine, Nastasia Philipovna. Another is Barashkov, 25-year-old, an extraordinary beautiful woman, dark brown hair, worn in a simple style. Dark, deep eyes, passionate, haughty expression, rather thin, pale face. Her eyes reflect unusual suffering, following her many years of liaison with Dostoevsky. Nastasia is uncertain as to what she will now do with her life. She admires Mushkin but fears that her past and her passionate nature will disgrace the prince. Now, another major characters, Epanchin family, General Epanchin family. Ivan Petrovich, the father, a general, 56 years old, stocky, solid figure, a self-taught man, cleverly built his fortune from his wife dowry. Lizaveta Prokofina, the mother, the wife of General Epanchin, a distant relative of Prince Mashkin. When she married the general, she had neither education nor beauty, but she brought him a dowry of 50 serfs, which formed the basis of the Epanchin's fortune. General Epanchin, the retired general. Alexandra, the daughter, the beautiful three daughters of Epanchin's. Alexandria, the eldest daughter, 25-year-old musician, good-natured, sensible yet strong-willed, very pretty, though not in a showy way. Unlike the parents, she is not fond of high life. Another character, daughter of General Epanchin, Adelaida, 23-year-old, a painter, fiancée of a certain prince. Agalaya, the third daughter, the youngest Epanchin's daughter, 20 years old, the idol of the Epanchin's household, extremely beautiful. Livogin family, Adrelin Alexandrovich, the father of a retired general, drinks excessively, spent time in debtor's prison. Nina Alexandrovna, Kolia, Gravil Androlovich, Gania, other character, Lucan. So these are the characters involved in this lengthy novel. So the theme of this novel is the ideal human being. In The Idiot, Dostoevsky attempts to portray the ideal man, a positively beautiful individual. Prince Mashkin represents all the qualities Dostoevsky deems the best aspect of human being. First, he is frank and open. He does not hide his true feeling. The prince always says what is on his mind. An open, candid man. The clash between good and the real world, the theme of the Russian Christianity and redemption, the story, how the prince redeemed himself. The motives of this novel is beauty, light and dark, love, symbol of money, key facts, genre, aristocratic drama, character study, tragedy, language, Russian, time and place, written in 1867-1869. Date of publication, 1869 protagonist, the hero of this novel is Prince Leov Nikolaevich Mashkin. Major conflict, Mashkin is torn between his romantic love for Aglaya Epanchin and his compassionate love for Nastasia. Climax, the meeting of Aglaya and Nastasia. Following action, Aglaya runs away and breaks all relation with Mashkin, who almost marries Nastasia. Rogozin kills Nastasia. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very beautiful novel. And it consists about many chapters and many parts. And if you have a spare time, I suggest that you must read it. Very beautiful novel. Thank you very much.